Hi everyone, I'm Erin, teaming up with Cherry Tree Beads, and today I'm going to show you a fun design using their new amazing teardrop beads. I am completely obsessed. You need all the colors because they are all fantastic. I'm always on the lookout for good teardrop beads, and I can never find them, especially at my local craft stores. They just don't have a good selection. You have a gold and like a mauve and this amazing rainbowy, like purpley color that comes through, and then a rainbow clear, and then like a darker version of this one with more like rainbowy purples and yellows, and then like this dark navy blue with some beautiful shimmer in it, and then a really amazing like deep gray. And I'm not sure what colors they're listing on their website, but those are my silly little descriptions. Ugh, I'm in love. I stared at these for hours when they first came in the mail. I just envisioning all the fun designs. But I came up with one that's relatively simple that I'm going to be showing you today. And we are going to be using these wires from cherrytreebeads.com, and they're really pretty. Got like a rose gold finish on them. And then I'm going to be using some little crystal, these ones match this bead perfectly, so we're going to be using these and this together in the design today. Alright, so we're going to start off by unwinding some wire from the spool, and I like to just run it through my fingers, or you can use like a towel or something if this hurts your fingers. I'm tough because I do it all the time, but I like to just run it through my fingers, or you can use a pair of nylon jaw pliers to do the same thing, but I'm usually too lazy to grab them and I just use my fingers. I like to be able to feel it. But you really want to make sure that your wire is nice and smooth before you start working with it. You gotta have a good baseline. I think I'm gonna cut about 8 inches. 8 inches of 18 gauge. Let's get rid of this. I'm going to start out by bringing it together up at the top and squeezing the bottom together. And we want to get this flattened, but not completely, just like that. You don't want it to be too much of a point or you won't be able to separate them nicely. Once you have that, you can pull it apart a little bit. So we have like a nice little bend right here. And it's not perfect. So I like to go back and just use my pliers to make that more of a sharp. There we go. And then smooth out anything that's not nice and straight. There we go. Now I want to take a round object. I have these just wooden rounds, but you could also grab like a lotion bottle or, you know, anything roughly this shape. Let's see, this one is about 2 centimeters across, or almost an inch. And I'm going to hold the point with my thumb. So hard to stay in frame, I apologize. Holding the point with my thumb, bringing these wires together. Like that. it's really great to have this to get it even. Just like that. And then we're gonna just hold the bead up to make sure that we have a good size here. Oops. That looks pretty good. I want the bead to sit right about there, and then I'm going to add some beads on either side. So let's make sure both of those sides look even. I'm way too much of a perfectionist for this. That looks good. Okay. And once we do that, you want to get your pliers and have it right about there and use your thumb to push against. And you want it to go straight up from the point down here. And do the same to the other side. And use your thumb to get it to go straight up. And then you want the other one to be, there we go. It might still take a little bit of tweaking with your hands. That's what I love about wire. There's always room for a little bit of tweaking. Again, always straightening. I do it without even thinking about it. Okay. So we have that. From here, we'll want to cut about 1 centimeter. Whoops. Flat side towards your piece so that you don't have any pointy edges. And that will be just the right length of wire to take our our bead smith bail making pliers. Goodness gracious, that was hard to say. And you can find these on cherry tree beads as well. These are essential, in my opinion, because it allows you to always make the same size loops. So I can make that loop on that side and then be able to come over here, do the exact same thing on this other wire, and know that they're both going to be the same size. I'm going to take my pliers and straighten those out a little bit so we can have them brought together. And then we're going to bind there eventually, but right now I think we should do the fun part and add the beads. So this is a 10-inch piece of 24 gauge, and I did the flattening out like we definitely want to do. Keep everything nice and smooth. And then I'm going to get it in about the center. Center of this frame that we made. And I'm going to take the wire around and wrap about 3 times around this right side. Okay, and you can take your pliers and push those together gently. All right, and then we can string on our beads. I'm going to take, I measured before I started to see what would fill the space nicely. I'm going to take 3 tiny crystal rondelles, 2 by 3 millimeter. This is very tedious to do on camera, but I think we got it. We want to make sure that the good side of the teardrop, the really pretty, I mean, it's good on both sides, but the best side, in my opinion, is where the rainbowy magenta stuff is shining through. And then 3 more 2 by 3 millimeter crystal rondelles, but you can use whatever you have. We just want to make sure that they fill this space nicely. So this is still moving a little bit, which is good because then we can figure out just the right place that everything lays. We're going to take this side and wrap around. You can use your nail to get it closer, to kind of pull. And we want to go around that the same amount of times, 3. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then pull that down so that everything is like laying across the way that it should. Sorry, it's so hard to stay in frame. Okay. So you could leave it here and not add any more beads, but I really like to add a couple more rows up here, and we've got all this extra wire here that we can just start adding more beads to. So I'm going to bring it up and around the front and add some more crystal rondelles until it fills. Oop, let's make sure that stays where it's supposed to. We'll squeeze everything down when we're done, but it's nice to have things move a little bit so that we can tweak it and make sure that it's perfect, and then make sure it's nice and secure at the end. So I'm going to add some more rows of crystal rondelles, and it's really easy, just crisscross back and forth, and we'll be right back. So there we are. We added an extra row, and I think that looks lovely. If you wanted to carry on and do some more rows up to the top, you totally could. But I think 2 rows is great. So I wrapped around here about 6 times to give good spacing, strung the beads across, and wrapped down towards our first initial wrap so that these would be more seamless. And you have nice spacing, and this bead is going to swing freely and just look lovely. So let's snip and tuck these wires in, and then we'll make the bail. When you are going to tuck in wires, it's really nice to get as close as you can, but to also give yourself enough to tuck into a place that it's not going to scratch the skin or snag a sweater. So you want to get relatively close, but enough to give you, space to really get it secure. You don't want any wires coming out and getting anybody. And you can test it by rubbing your finger back and forth on it. And there we are. So we just need to add a bail. Before we can add a bail, we just have to make a simple link. Hold on, I see something that's not straight. Ugh, gotta fix it. There we go. Okay, so we're going to take the 18 gauge again, and we want to snip a flush cut on that. And then you can use your bail making pliers, and I would probably use this third up size. And you want to bring it around until it meets like that. And then you take your flush cutters again, and we want to have a flush cut going away from us so that you can have a flush cut and a flush cut, and when you put them together, it'll be a nice smooth closure. So we actually take it like this and wiggle it back and forth until they meet. And then you want to open it to the side, put it on, and do the same thing again. This helps to strengthen the closure. And there you are. This can tend to wiggle back and forth up here, and I don't really like the way that looks, so I'm going to take one of the scrap pieces from the 24 gauge that we use to add the beads, and I am going to strap these together. I probably should have done it before adding that link, but oh well. All right, so we could do about 2, maybe 3. This is just to give a little bit more strength to the design. We don't want things wiggling back and forth. We want it to be nice and tight and secure, and I'm kind of holding with my hands and pulling with my pliers, making sure that everything's nice and tight. Make sure that these are going together nicely. And again, same thing with tucking in the wires. We want to snip it. Hard to do on camera. There we go. If you can see that. That is a really great place to clip it so that there's just enough space to tuck it in and there won't be anything snagging. And do the same with the other one. For the final bail up at the top, we'll make it like we did on the last pendant we made together. And take this smallest loop, bring it around till you meet the wire, like that. And then, depending on how thick your chain is, or the leather cord maybe, you can use this or this size. Bring the wire around until it meets. And then you can use your flush cutters, flat side, to give it a nice flush cut so that you can squeeze it closed. Whoops. And there we are. I like to use smaller pliers to open up the bottom. And then you will slide this on that other little loop that you made. I forget what those are called. I'm not good with technical terms. I like making jewelry. I'm not very good at talking people through it. But hopefully I'm getting better. This is good practice for me. And I hope that you guys are able to learn from the instruction that I'm giving. And here's our pendant all finished. You have a swinging bead, which is just fantastic to show off that sparkle. And you can add it onto a cord necklace. And Cherry Tree Beads has a ton of colors, so you can even do like a coordinating cord color with your bead. And there we are. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and definitely go check out Cherry Tree Beads because these teardrop beads are just incredible. Thanks so much for spending some time with me today. I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments. This is only my second tutorial I've ever made, so I hope I'm getting better, and I will see you guys again soon.